Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Fisher. Many people think of them as creepy and crawly, but insects have some amazing abilities. On this episode of AZ Illustrated Science, we explore some of those. And we go behind the scenes at the Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum. But first, here's a look at today's top stories.
Earlier today, the U.S. Senate held its first hearing on the president's request to attack Syria following chemical weapons attacks on civilians. Congressman Raul Grijalva told Arizona Public Media he commends the president for asking for congressional permission to attack, but Grijalva calls limited military action in Syria a strategically wrong move on the part of the administration. Grijalva says the U.S. is already involved in military operations in the Middle East and should rely on the United Nations and international allies. A plan to build more commercial and residential structures near the Grand Canyon has hit a snag. The town of Tucson has been working with Stilo Development Group to add to the small town that sits at the south entrance of the Grand Canyon. The Italian developer has plans that include a dude ranch, 5-star hotels, stores, a cultural center, and hundreds of homes, but the group defaulted on an agreement with the town because of problems with the U.S. Forest Service. And that's a look at tonight's headlines.
Researchers at the University of Arizona are using a giant moth to unravel the mysteries of our sense of smell and making startling new discoveries along the way. Gisela Tellis has the story.
We'll look at a box where some little caterpillars have hatched. This is a box that's a little bit further along, and you can see lots of little caterpillars.
For more than 3 decades, neuroscientist John Hillenbrand has worked with some of the world's smallest brains, the brains of insects.
The first response I usually get to that is people say, "You mean insects have brains?" Yes, they have brains. So I like to tell people the next time you swat a bug, remember that it was somebody's daughter or son and it had a brain. These are the size of cigars now.
Hillenbrand, a University of Arizona Regents professor, studies these daughters and sons to explore the sense of smell and how it affects insect behavior. He came to this peculiar interest by chance. As a graduate student, he considered careers in chemistry, biology, and even music before a single encounter led him in a new direction.
One day in 1965, I think it was, I found a little book on the shelf in the library called Nerve Cells and Insect Behavior. And that title, it was intriguing to me. And there was a praying mantis on the cover, which I always liked praying mantises. So I picked up the book and I sat down and started to read it, just out of curiosity, something unrelated to my work during the graduate studies. And that book was so amazing, I read the whole book without getting up. I read it in one sitting. And when I put it back on the shelf, I had the little voice in my head tell me, that's the thing you really want to do. This is called a mating cage.
When he began to head his own lab, Hillenbrand chose to study Manduca sexta, commonly known as the tobacco hornworm. It's a giant moth that can reach a wingspan of more than 4 inches as an adult. Its oversized body holds an oversized brain, and that makes it easy to study Manduca sexta's nervous system.
The paper smells like host
He
plant.
focused on Manduca's sense of smell, and for good reason, says researcher Rob Mitchell, a member of Hillenbrand's team.
So as humans, we use our eyes, our vision, and our hearing a lot. When it comes to smell, it's less important. So smell is something, it's nice to know when your house is on fire, but in general, we don't use it quite so often. Insects are the other way around. So insects use their sense of smell to find food, to find places to lay eggs, even to know who's a male and who's a female. It's very important to their life history.
When insects use their sense of smell to find food, it often spells trouble for humans.
One caterpillar can completely defoliate a plant.
Food-seeking insects can threaten crops or even, as in the case of mosquitoes, spread disease. Understanding how insect brains handle the business of smelling could give humans a new tool for keeping pests at bay, says Mitchell.
If we can identify what chemicals are released by crops or important food plants that the insects are queuing in on, then we can try to modify those chemicals or change the blend in the area and make the insects less interested in it.
Every scent is a mix of different chemicals, and Hillenbrand's team is trying to cue in on which chemicals trigger the strongest insect response. One way they try to answer this question is by literally reading Manduka's mind.
One of the simplest ways to do it is to simply stick an electrode into the brain and monitor the voltage of a particular cell or set of cells. So what we're seeing are 16 different channels. Each one of them is a different part of the brain, and each one of them is recording from all of the neurons in the nearby area. So what we end up is kind of a cacophony of different neurons activating and deactivating at the same time. And you can actually hear that right now. This sort of static that's in the background is the voltage potential turned into a sound, so we can hear what's going on and know when we're close to neurons.
The result is a map of how the moth's brain processes smells. That isn't just good for understanding and potentially altering insect behavior. It helps scientists understand the human sense of smell, too. There's still a lot scientists don't know about how we recognize smells. How we know, for example, that a glass of red wine isn't a cup of coffee, even if some of the chemical components are the same.
The important thing to know is that if you take a sniff of a cup of freshly brewed coffee, there are more than 800 compounds that you're detecting all at once. It's a very complex stimulus. For a chemist to analyze that and tell you how much of what kinds of compounds are there would take a long, multi-week effort and very complicated instrumentation. And yet you take a whiff of that and you immediately know it's a dark roast, or it's a light roast, or it's a medium roast, or it's been sitting on the stove too long and it's burned, or that's instant coffee and it's not my kind of coffee. You can tell so much about it because your olfactory system is able to do very quick analysis of the complex mixture, and on the basis of learning, you can compare what you sniff to what you've learned.
Hillenbrand's work has also drawn interest for an unexpected application: military defense. In the late 1990s, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency tapped Hillenbrand's knowledge of Manduka's mind to help develop a cyborg moth.
They came to me and said they were interested in Manduka because it's a big insect and might be able to carry something while it's flying, and maybe it could be co-opted to serve the military for the purpose of gathering intelligence as a reconnaissance agent.
Hillenbrand's team succeeded in using electronics to put Manduka to work as a spy, and revealed yet another tantalizing possibility for moth research.
And it's got practical application if you think about it. If you can get electronics to talk to the nervous system directly, this could be helpful for therapeutics in the future, that kind of approach, if you wanted to overcome spinal damage that leaves somebody as a paraplegic, and you could somehow bypass the lesion and have electronics substitute for what has been damaged in the nervous system.
It's just one more potential gift from what Hillenbrand calls his second favorite creature, a bug with a big brain and many still unsolved mysteries.
And the transformation from this to this is, I think, one of the miracles of nature.
As our next guest will tell us, bugs are resilient and adaptable even to GMO crops. Bruce Tabachnick is the head of the University of Arizona Department of Entomology and does research on pest adaptability, and joins us now to tell us about some of his findings. Bruce, thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here, Alan.
Bruce, to start out, could you please tell us what is a GMO?
GMO stands for genetically modified organism. So that's an organism that's had DNA transferred using recombinant DNA techniques.
Okay. And how long have these been used in domestic agriculture?
Since 1996, genetically modified crops have been grown widely in the United States.
Okay. And prior to the introduction of genetically modified crops, farmers primarily used poisonous insecticides to control pests on their crops. Between the two methods, GMO and pesticides, which is the more effective, safe, and cost-effective way of controlling pests on crops, Bruce?
Well, what we're trying to do is use a combination of techniques that provide the safest, most effective, profitable, and sustainable way of controlling insects. So it's not so much either or, but trying to use them together in the best way to get the best outcome. And one of the great things about genetically modified crops that are used to control insects is that they do it with what are called Bt proteins. That stands for Bacillus thuringiensis, which is a widespread bacterium that makes proteins that kill insects in a very safe and effective way. And these same Bt proteins are a darling of organic growers, and they've been used in organic agriculture for decades in sprays. So they're very safe, generally safer than most conventional pesticides.
Okay. And is it also accurate that the GMOs are kind of like a focused way of dealing with pests?
Great question. So these Bt proteins are very specific in terms of which insects they kill. So they have a much narrower spectrum of activity than conventional pesticides, which are usually nerve poisons and will kill a wide variety of insects, and not only insects, other arthropods, and they can be even poisonous to people. So one of the big advantages of these crops that make Bt proteins is that they're environmentally friendly. They have little toxicity or none to most organisms other than the insects we're trying to kill with them.
Okay. And Bruce, how are insects able to develop resistances to these toxins that are being put into the crops?
Good question. So it's Darwinian evolution. It's the same way bacteria evolve resistance to drugs that we use to control them. In any given population of insects, there are many, many individuals. And when you start with a new Bt protein that's produced by a genetically modified crop, the insects that are resistant are rare. They might be as rare as 1 in a million. But when you use the same method, whether it's a Bt crop or an insecticide over and over, in the next generation, you're going to have a higher proportion of those resistant insects because they survive and they pass those genes for resistance onto their offspring. So if you use the same approach over and over, after many generations, the insects will evolve resistance to just about anything you use to control them.
Okay. And Bruce, in terms of the development of that resistance, has that happened more quickly or has it taken longer than scientists anticipated?
Well, the answer to that is kind of mixed, both actually. In some cases, in the worst case scenarios, we've seen resistance to these GM crops in as little as 2 or 3 years. However, there are some great examples, and Arizona is one of them, where we have GM cotton that's remained effective for more than 16 years, and we see no evidence of resistance at all. So one of the things that we've learned is it depends. It depends on the particular crop and the insect and how we use those GM crops.
Okay. And Bruce, genetically modified crops have been receiving a lot of public scrutiny with protests in the United States. They've been banned in many countries in Europe. And many people believe that they're actually hazardous to people's health. What is your take on that? And are GMO crops a benefit or are they a detriment to what's going on in agriculture these days?
I think overall they're beneficial, but it's like any technology. We can use it wisely and get some great benefits, but there could also be mistakes. But on balance, they're a benefit. They provide another tool in our toolbox for controlling insects, and it's one that helps us avoid using pesticides that are more toxic, that are more broadly toxic to all kinds of organisms, including people.
Okay. And Bruce, you mentioned your toolbox. What are some of the other tools that are used in battling pests?
Well, we have a great example of combining different control methods in Arizona for the pink bollworm. It's a caterpillar that bores into cotton bolls and can completely destroy the yield for the growers. It had plagued Arizona cotton growers for more than a century. And there's a program that's been in effect for about 7 years now, using a combination of the GM cotton and sterilized moths. And with that combination, the rare resistant insects mate mainly with sterile insects and produce no progeny. So at the moment, we're ahead in the battle with this pest using that combination of techniques.
Great. Well, Bruce, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
House leaders vowed today to back President Obama's plan to strike Syria.
The pressure from military action intensified today in a White House meeting with lawmakers and at the first hearing on Capitol Hill. We hear from Michigan Democrat Carl Levin.
Then Japan struggles to stem radioactive leaks from its crippled nuclear plant, including a plan to build an ice wall below the damaged reactors.
We break down two big deals in the world of technology and telecommunications.
As the debate over a living wage is reignited by fast food workers, Ray Suarez sits down with the new Secretary of Labor, Thomas Perez.
It doesn't have to be that the only service industry jobs that can be sustained in America are minimum wage, no benefit jobs. I categorically reject that false choice.
And schools in Oakland, California want to curb a decade of declining graduation rates. We profile programs aimed at engaging students.
We're trying to make transformations. A lot of our brothers are failing disproportionately. Like if we look at the statistics in Oakland, we're the highest in everything we don't need to be in.
That's all I had on tonight's News Hour.
When Apple launched the iTunes Store, rival Bill Gates wrote an email. Subject, Steve Jobs again.
Steve Jobs' ability, he wrote, to focus in on a few things that count, get people who get user interfaces right, and market things is amazing.
Walter Isaacson used that email in his biography of Jobs, using the digital trail on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Crickets are considered to be arthropods. So are shrimp and crabs, as are other familiar insects such as butterflies, flies, ants, bees, and beetles. While she may not call all of these insects a delicacy, Wendy Moore, the curator of the University of Arizona Insect Collection, is inspired to study them, and she joins us now to tell us about her work and some of the interesting critters with which she comes into contact. Wendy, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
First question, Wendy, what is an arthropod?
Oh, an arthropod is an organism that has an exoskeleton. So unlike us, we have endoskeletons, bones inside of our bodies. Arthropods have a skeleton on the outside of their bodies, these hard shells. And they also have jointed appendages. That's what arthropod means, is jointed legs.
And Wendy, as far as Southern Arizona and Sky Island, is this a hotbed for arthropods and arthropod diversity?
Oh, most definitely it is. Yes, so we live in a spectacular place because in North America there is one continuous line of mountains that goes from Canada all the way down through South America. And it's oftentimes referred to as the spine of the continent, so this high elevation mountain range. And it only has one break in it, and that's where we live, is the Sky Island region. And littered all around this low area are these mountains that have different biomes, different biological communities that are stacked in an elevation gradient and repeated many times in this region. So there are approximately 66 sky islands in Arizona and Mexico, all in this region. And it's a hotbed for biodiversity for arthropods because those arthropods that live at the top of the mountains, let's say the highest biome, the mixed conifer forest, they may be separated by ocean or desert seas, and their closest relatives would live on the top of another sky island. So let's take a beetle that would live in this mixed conifer forest of Mount Lemmon. Its closest relatives will live on the top of the Piñaleños or the Chiricahuas. And so this area of vicariance, so of separation between biomes, has promoted a great diversification of species. Over time, those beetles that live at the top of the different sky islands will evolve and adapt in isolation, and over time they could warrant their own species or subspecies status. So that, in part, is one of the reasons this is such a diverse region for arthropod biodiversity.
Great. And Wendy, do you have a favorite type of arthropod? Could you describe it for us, please?
Oh, well, I focus on, my love is beetles. So those that have a hardened wing covers that cover up their flighted wings. One example of a beetle that's flying now I brought with me to the studio, it's a palo verde borer. They're common right now at lights. But my very favorite are bombardier beetles. And they have the ability to expel defensive chemicals at 100 degrees C, so the boiling point of water. And my very favorite beetle, so this is a palo verde borer. This is a cerambycid or longhorn beetle, the ones that are flying now in the desert. And they're one of the largest beetles in the Sonoran Desert, longest, at least at this time of year. And they do not expel defensive chemicals hot. But these little guys over here are bombardier beetles. They're in the genus Brachinus, and they're found in riparian corridors all along the desert regions. And they aggregate with multiple species under rocks during the day, and then they come out at night and feed on other dead arthropods and so forth. But those are only one group of bombardier beetle. My very favorite is another group of bombardier beetle that lives with ants. And they live all around the world. And my research on them has taken me to exciting places like South Africa and Madagascar. And this year, I'm going to travel with collaborators to India and Sri Lanka and Java to study them. And the reason that I love them so much is that they have evolved to live inside ant nests and become a member of that ant nest, feed on the ant eggs, but also be actively drawn into the nest and valued by the ants. And they've evolved some incredibly amazing morphologies to do that.
Okay. And Wendy, in the short time we have left, could you please tell me a little bit about the new book you have out?
Oh, yeah. So because the Sky Island, I've studied bombardier beetles for about 15 years. The Sky Island project is a new project. And so in the last 2 years, my collaborators and I have learned everything we can possibly learn about the natural history of the Sonoran Desert. And Rick Brusca and I just published a book on the Catalinas, the natural history of the Catalinas in the whole Sky Island region. And it was just published by the Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum Press.
Great. Well, Wendy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
A combination zoo, botanical garden, and natural history museum, the Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum, west of Tucson, has pioneered the science of exhibit design and interpretation. From the visitor's viewpoint, it's difficult to discern what occurs naturally and what is fabricated to look natural.
There's plenty for visitors to see when perusing the grounds of the Arizona Sonoran Desert Museum, but it's what they don't see that may be the most astonishing. The art and science of exhibit design provides a home for the animals, safe access for keepers, and just as important, a rich experience for visitors. First developed and used several decades ago, rock formations at the museum appear to be serendipitously located, but they aren't. Instead, they are handmade and purposefully placed.
Well, let's go over there.
On a small scale, this is exactly how we make all our rocks at the Desert Museum. We start off with a rock, we paint coats of latex on it, reinforce the latex with some cheesecloth, add a hard shell to hold the shape, and then we fill it full of cement, get a cement rock, we paint the cement rock, and we end up with a duplicate of what our original rock was. However, we use lightweight rocks up on the ceiling where we have to have certain areas that just can't handle the weight. By using molds that we use, the rock texture is exactly the same as you find in the mountains. We have 50 of these separate molds for this particular texture of rock, and by changing them around, we can make it shape any size, any shape we want to go to.
Those shapes not only provide caves for the animals, but also cavernous spaces for the safety of the handlers, especially those handling venomous creatures.
Well, you want to make sure that it's safe for both the animal and the staff, and so that you have room around to work. So we have tools that we can use to work the animals with. People are absolutely always surprised. They're out there and they have no clue that there's this big room back here to service the animals in, so they're very surprised. And of course, kids always want to tap on the glass and wave at you and get you to respond.
Glass is one barrier that keeps the animals separate from inquisitive visitors. Another homespun technology is a nearly invisible net.
Our InvisiNet at the Desert Museum was invented by our former Director of Design and Planning, Ken Stockton. And it's hand-woven. It's made out of a stainless steel mesh. This particular InvisiNet is a 60-pound stainless steel. It was developed just so that when you're taking pictures of a lot of animals through the InvisiNet, you see the animals, not the mesh. And we're trying to find something that is least visible but still contains the animal. It's a pretty good example of something we can use that doesn't require a lot of maintenance once it's installed.
Many of these technologies are in use at zoos worldwide. And while InvisiNet was state-of-the-art years back, the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum's latest exhibit is more up-to-date. So much so that the museum is able to create a sea in the desert. The creatures inside the tanks are impressive, as is the technology behind the scenes allowing the animals to prosper. The new fresh and saltwater Warden Aquarium starts with regular old H2O.
Comes in here first and we purify it with a reverse osmosis system. Once the purified water leaves the system in there, it comes out and it enters into this subsurface tank. This tank is plumbed into this tank next to it, which we use for mixing the salt water. Both of these tanks are plumbed into the aquarium so that we can pump either this fresh reverse osmosis water or salt water, depending on what tank we need to fill at the time.
All the water used in the aquarium is recycled to the wetlands exhibit on museum grounds. Even the salt water, which has plenty more added to it besides salt.
The chemistry of salt water is a lot different than fresh water. We have to monitor the salinity of the water, the ammonias, nitrites, nitrates, all kinds of things, and then also even the calcium content and different minerals and stuff too.
Each tank has its own plumbing.
Here we have a sump, and in this sump is extra water to help dilute the water or add volume. And there's a bunch of bioballs in here that have bacteria growing on them that helps break down the ammonia or the waste from the fish and clean up the water. Then it goes through a cartridge filter, and then we also have a UV sterilizer. We also have a foam fractionator or a protein skimmer, and it actually mimics sea foam.
All the technology and planning that goes into the exhibits isn't just about viewing the animals. It's about not seeing the animals, too.
We want animals to be visible. We want people to be able to see them and to enjoy their experience. We always have to weigh that against the needs for the animals. Animals, like people, don't necessarily want to just be looked at constantly all day, so we like to give them a chance to retreat a little bit, or a bush to hide under, or a low place to go to, so they can feel that they can escape and not feel eyes on them all the time.
That's our show. To post a comment on any of these stories or to keep up with the latest news, go online to our website at azpm.org. I'm Alan Fisher. Thanks for watching.